You should never underestimate the predictability of stupidity. But first,
Five God on the beat.
welcome to the Deep Focus Podcast. How's it going, everyone? As always, I'm your co-host Varun. I'm with my boy Murad. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Slept late, watched a bunch of... Can I just say... I know I said welcome last time, and I enjoyed it, and it was cool and all. It was a good experience. I felt like a celebrity, but like it's the way your voice comes in and then back. It was just so good. So thank you for doing that. I also love the fact that our job is to watch movies and we just talk about movies because it's wonderful. So I'm doing good. I'm in a very good mood. How about you?
I'm good, man. I wouldn't even call it a job, honestly. It's a passion. I
That's fair.
love
That's
watching these movies. But it does put us in a bit of a hole sometimes. Like, we were going to review some movies today, obviously, but with my work schedule, I was working a lot of late shifts this week. And I just kept pushing off these movies because I wasn't in the mindset, not just to focus on these movies, but to make sure I had some opinionated points about the
Yeah.
movies. So I was off a lot earlier than usual last night. So I just pumped a bunch of movies out. And for those who are wondering, we will be talking about Wrath of Man, the new Guy Ritchie movie starring Jason Statham. We will be talking about Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan, which came out about a month ago on Amazon Prime. And as a surprise twist, we will be talking about Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. The reason we didn't mention it last time was because I just straight up forgot it was coming out on Friday. so so I pumped up. We pumped out all three movies last night. I am tired. My wife was a trooper. She watched all three movies with me. She enjoyed the movie as much as I did, especially Wrath of the Man, which we'll get down to in a bit later here. But my first question for you, Murad, is that quote. Now I've been doing these quotes now. I've been loving them. I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna start putting a little more of a theme into these quotes. So can you guess what movie my quote was from today?
You said never. Don't underestimate the power of
Just
stupidity.
no the
Oh,
predictability of stupidity.
I don't. But it sounds like it's from a heist movie.
There's heist elements in it for sure. So it is a Guy Ritchie film
Yeah.
from a 2000 classic, Snatch.
Snatch. Okay.
Yeah, it was a quote that was a Bullet Tooth Tony. He one of the characters in there. Like, he's the one. Like, he could just not go down. Like, he was the Mike Myers in
Yeah.
that movie. Like, no matter what happened, like, he just would keep going. So it was a line from a Guy Ritchie movie. So that's the one from today. I'm excited. That's the movie I'm
Most
most
excited
excited to
about. I
talk
can
about.
tell.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Have you been watching anything else at all this week? I know this is your last week off before you go back to work next week.
Yeah. So I have. I'm really enjoying Big Shot, the Disney Plus show. I don't know why. There's parts of it because I mean everyone's a good sucker for like a good high school drama TV show. Like it. I don't know what it is about it. The same reason why like Riverdale, it was just so outlandish, but also there was heart in it sometimes, and I do like this. I like John Stamos. I like the casting in it. Yvette Nicole Brown from of course from Community, and I believe she was in Drake and Josh. Um, but yeah, her character is fantastic. I don't know, man. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't yet. No, I keep seeing it. Like I mentioned before, it's harder for me to catch new shows right now just
Yeah.
because how everything's worked out. There's a new Kate Winslet show that's on HBO or Crave in Canada that everyone's been talking about. Mayor of something. I'm blanking on the
Yes.
name.
Yeah.
But it's a murder mystery type miniseries. Everyone's been hyping it up and just ended, I believe, last week. And
Mayor
that's
of
something.
Easttown.
There you go. Yeah, Mirror. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that. Like, there's so many shows out there available, but with the NBA playoffs starting in
Yeah.
round two,
Yeah.
right? The NHL playoffs is still trying to wrap up. My time will be consumed to that and to whatever movies you're watching. But speaking of CW, did you hear about the Powerpuff stuff? Powerpuff Girls, like the
No.
live remake.
What happened?
So this happened weeks ago, and this is so under the radar that like we totally missed it. There's no big news or updates about this,
Oh
but they
no.
scrapped the pilot episode.
Oh.
They scrapped the pilot episode, and they're gonna redo, I guess, some of the episodes they were planning to release. And my question is, and this could easily be a hot and not segment, but I feel like we both don't care about the show, so we already know how you feel. But how bad was it that CW was like, no, let's redo this? Like, how do you think? Like, how bad was that?
I mean, let's not
Like, it's
forget
not like it,
CW let Arrow go down the tubes, and they also are in charge of whatever the fuck is happening on Riverdale now. So I don't know. Their standards are pretty low already. So I don't know.
I don't know. I just like I was
Was
so
it?
confused. I was so confused. I'm like, one, how did we miss this, and how was this
Yeah.
so under the radar? And if it wasn't under the radar, how like I don't know. Like I know we were off Instagram, social for a little while. I'm sure you guys
Mm-hmm.
noticed. I've been back pretty heavily in the last week, but I don't know how I missed that. But I was just quite. I had a good chuckle when I saw that. Oh, CW is like, nah, we good. Let's try this again.
So they scrapped it and they're moving it back into production just to
Yeah,
redo the
yeah, yeah.
episode.
Do you
Oh.
want to reattempt to make some of the episodes, including the pilot
Oh
episode,
wow.
because you're like, nah, this is not good. Let's try this again. Because it's not
I
like
won.
Twitter or social media reacted in a negative way about the Powerpuff Girls. It isn't like, oh, hey, like, never mind, people don't want
Yeah.
this. They're gonna do it, and I'm sure people will watch it, especially
Hmm.
those CW loyals out there. But yeah, I thought it was funny that
That is.
it's not up
I
to
don't.
CW standards.
I know, and that's a low bar. So I don't know.
Yeah, I
I really want to
know.
see just how bad it was. Like I don't know if that makes me a cynic. I'm not sure if that makes me sort of like, hey, I just want to watch the world burn. But I just want to see what was so bad about it. That
I know.
CW of all people was like, nah, this is too much or too little. You know, so thanks
Absolutely,
for bringing
man.
that up. I did not know that. You know what? Let's just do an impromptu hot or not. Or were you excited about like when you heard about it? Were
I
you
was
like,
never excited about
okay,
it.
cool, all right, sounds
I
good.
was
Same.
never excited about it. I was never in on it. As much as I do enjoy watching Chloe Bennett as an actress, like I did enjoy her in Agent of
Agents of
Shield,
Shield. Hmm.
I it wasn't enough for me to like. Okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. Like I was totally out on anything CW,
Yeah,
just because I just don't care, honestly. But before we go completely off track, let's save our hot or not for the end. As always,
absolutely.
let's start off with movie reviews. That's the reason why we're here today. And this is going to be a sort of a one-sided review, everyone, just because Murad didn't watch The Conjuring. Like that's more something of my enjoyment. So I want to make sure I watched it. As always, you can catch us on all audio platform podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, we're everywhere. If you are more of a visual person, we are on YouTube at the Deep Focus Podcast, and we are on social media. So we're on Twitter and Instagram at the Deep Focus Pod. And I've been trying to stay active on TikTok recently, so I hope I remember our name. But I think we're the Deep Focus Podcast Clips. We just post clips of no our podcast, whatever takes we might have into onto TikTok, and in hopes to you guys click the link and listen more. Straight up, like that's my only purpose of it. Like I just want you to try, I want you guys to listen to us more. But we do appreciate the support. We are at over 300 listens on an audio platform since we first started. That's almost 16 listens per episode. Considering we weren't on Apple Podcasts until like 2 to 3 weeks ago, and like, that it makes a huge difference for sure. So we do appreciate everyone's support.
I didn't know the
But
power of Apple
yeah,
Podcasts.
yeah, like people like if you're on Apple, like is you and you probably already using Apple Music, which you probably won't be using Spotify, things like that. Not saying everyone on Apple will use Apple Music, but they tend to keep everything all together in sync there. But I was trying to say, we are here to talk about some movies today, and I want to start off with The Conjuring. And when I say I, like I said earlier, like I was the one who watched it because it is a movie franchise and a universe that I am pretty invested in. So Conjuring, which is the first movie not directed by James Wan, And I keep mentioning the question I asked last time when I was like, "What's your first thought when walking away from this movie?" My first thought walking away from this movie was I wish James Wan directed it. You can tell that it was Michael Chavez who did direct this film. I didn't check his previous history of work, but James Wan was still attached to the project as a producer, and you can tell there was definitely James Wan elements into that was in the movie. But this movie, which on Rotten Tomatoes right now, before I get going, it got 60% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, but 83% from the audience. So it does seem like from the people it is being well received. Not saying with my comment about James Wan, not saying this was a bad movie, but it wasn't what I expected. Maybe it's my fault for expecting something similar because uh, I knew James Wan wasn't directing this, so that could be more on me. But that was my first thought. I was it really felt like an X Files episode watching this film. So to give you everyone a spoiler free recap of what no the Warrens are back. This movie starts off great. So they're in a household of the Glatzels, I believe that has a family name, where the youngest son, David Glatzel, was possessed by this demon, or as we thought. So, like right away, they show this kid getting an exorcism, so they could relieve his demons of his duties, if you want to reword it in a different way. That's how it starts off, and from there, things start going downhill. And part of the exorcism, David's older sister's boyfriend, in the middle of everything, started talking directly to the demon. Again, this part, guys, is not really a spoiler. It is like the first 2 minutes. This has nothing to do with how the rest of the movie goes. But Arnie was the boyfriend, and Arnie was like, "Hey, take me instead." And you see that, like, you see the demon sort of transfer and take over. But after that happened, and this is shown in the trailer, Arnie is the guy walking to begin the trailer with the bloody shirt and everything. So he does commit a murder. Like that's all details I'll give from there. And he does stab someone violently, and gets someone gets arrested, gets thrown in jail, and now is on trial. And the court, the whole idea of his case of this film was it's like more of a trial case now. It's a trial movie now where this movie is more about proving that he was possessed, not crazy, not innocent, but possessed and didn't have full control of what happened. And so the Warrens, again played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, they were trying to really solve this mystery. So it had multiple different directions, which I was kind of frustrated with. When they brought up the whole idea of a court case in the beginning, I thought we will get that element. But as soon as they brought up the court case, they went away from it like very quickly. Like he was still like captive, like he was in jail or psych ward part of a jail, but like he was held prison, and him being Arnie, and it wasn't. I just felt it was going all over the place, and the fact that it was going all over the place, it felt you weren't really invested into a certain part of the movie, and when a jump scare did happen, it didn't catch you off guard as it usually did. So that's like that frustrated me. And the movie was entertaining. Like there was definitely some good parts in there, some nice little twists. It's definitely a different take from the Conjuring films, but they would bring something up like the case, and they sort of get away from the courtroom completely. Then they will bring up another case that was very similar to the one the Warrens were investigating, happening in a different state, and they quickly sort of went away from that. They spent like 5 minutes on that. They spent 5-10 minutes on each different thing to finally just wrap it up at the end. So I wish they had more of a direction in this film. I wish they've uh, kept more of a tight storyline instead of being all over the place. It just felt like a Zodiac killer type of hunt, where like these things are happening everywhere, but instead of them searching for this one serial killer and having they were just kept telling multiple stories in one movie, and I didn't think the story was told well. It wasn't clean,
Okay.
and that's where I was disappointed. So if I have to give this movie out of 10, I would give it a 6.
Oh, okay.
But I would still recommend watching it if you are the fans of The Conjuring. And I do believe that 83% does seem right for a lot of like the audience who really enjoy that movie. But for me, as I mentioned in about a month ago in one of our previous podcasts, I am in love with James Wan. I wish he did direct this movie because I feel like we would have gotten that and would have got it cleaner and it would have changed some things up for us, but it just wasn't there for me. Did you watch the previous Conjuring movies at all?
No.
Yeah, so like that, I would watch
And
it. Like,
it's not because that I want to.
Yeah.
But when they came out, I wasn't a huge horror movie fan, and I quickly started to realize that I like more thrillers than horror. So I wasn't a big fan of the devil stuff and anything like that. But I really liked when you dive into like human psyche, which is why I really gravitated towards Robert Eggers and such, right? Because their horror movies are more based on like the idea of isolation or like folklore and things like that. And it was also about like the part of the human that, I mean, you can see a human, right? And it's not threatening, but there's parts of them that you will never know about, and that's what I find intriguing. So more of the mystery thriller type stuff. I will give it a shot though, because this one did look really intriguing. But yeah, I haven't seen them
watch
yet.
watch the first two first, and there is a whole universe like with the Nun and Annie. So, no, not Annie, Annabelle. So I do recommend watching like the entire series because the spin-offs have been great.
Are they all part of the same universe?
They're all part of the same universe. Like you do see the Nun and Annabelle mentioned, and because like so the Warrens from every case. Again, allegedly this is all based on a true story. After every case, they would bring sort of a souvenir to remember the case, right? So they'll have like the Annabelle doll, they'll have something like in there, like to have everything sort of a collection of everything, with this. So like and you'll see these collections in their own movies essentially, right? There's more spin-off movies happening from The Conjuring. Like this is a full-on universe, and I don't think it'll stop for a while. The first Conjuring is one of my favorite horror movies of like recent memory. Like the first Conjuring was fantastic, and it's really rewatchable, and I really enjoyed that, and it was fantastic. I really loved it. So second one I still enjoyed. Then the third one's like okay, like it wasn't what I expected from the Conjuring universe, but I did enjoy that. But yeah, so like I said, I'll give it 6 out of 10. It is available on HBO Max and in movie theaters in the US, and it is available in the theaters here, and also available to rent on iTunes. I believe it's for $24.99 in Canada. So you know what, like it is available out there. People will watch it. I do recommend watching this still if you do like horror movies. But the fact that we're getting back-to-back horror movies in June, we're trying to play catch up. So I did enjoy that. So that's my take on that. So I do recommend watching, guys. But for the next movie, my favorite movie of the day that we're gonna talk about. I'm so hyped to talk about Wrath of Man, guys. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. But before I blow a massive load here, I'm gonna get Murada's clothes off and to talk about Wrath of Man. Like I want to contain my excitement a little bit, calm myself down, maybe clean up my mess a little bit. But I kick us off. So watching Wrath of Man. Before we do anything else, again, as always, your first instant thought getting away from this movie.
Getting away from this movie, I was thinking that was Guy Ritchie. Like that was Guy Ritchie at his, I would say at his best. I really, really liked the twists and turns of this movie. Arguably, there were sometimes too many twists, but I do like the fact that everything was built from this one moment, and the entire movie trying to dissect this moment from different point of views. I thought that was fantastic. And Jason Statham was so fucking brilliant in this movie, because he's always menacing, but like sometimes you're like, oh, he's kind of goofy. This one, I think he spoke like less than 100 words or something. Like He was more just stare down into the person than anything else. I did, however, find that there were parts of it like I'm not sure if you played like Mafia video games, but there's a video game called Mafia 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Italian man coming from Italy to fight in the war to the U.S. and he gets involved in the mafia. The dialogue was written very similar, and I feel
Okay.
like they casted this like as if it were a video game, because there's something about it where it felt really the dialogue only. It felt really video gamey and in a good way because it really felt like you were along for the ride. But like huge shout out to the person who cast this film because I feel like for every character that was written, they casted it perfectly, right? So, and also Post Malone, he's a very interesting person. Like he was in what Spencer Confidential and now this, so it's like, what are you doing there, Posty? But I like it. I like what he's doing, and I just he's so brash, but he's also so humble. So I really don't. I mean, he also kind of looks like he'd rob some shit, right? So I'm just like interesting. But yeah, I really liked it. As you can tell, I know Varun. Did you clean up over there?
Oh man, oh yeah, my mess is all cleaned up. I just threw my sock to the side there. But so before we get started, Rotten Tomatoes, it did get 66% Rotten Tomatoes, 91% audience score. And for those who don't know what this movie's about, when I first saw the trailer, I thought it would be more heist than than revenge or one other around. But this was focused on a revenge movie, so this part's not a spoiler. But essentially, this big heist happens at the beginning of the movie, which it's very minimal detail of what happens. And the cool thing about this is the whole movie is focused on this one heist, and as the movie goes along, you find out more in a typical Guy Ritchie style of storytelling, and that's my first takeaway I'm getting from the movie. And I'll get that into a moment here, but essentially, Jason Statham's out for revenge. That's all the details I want to give. Like something from this heist caused him to uh, essentially go out of control and come back and try to get the people who done him wrong. So in that way, Jason Statham was obviously perfect. And as a vengeance movie, this is something out of Guy Ritchie's norm. So Guy Ritchie's norm for me is very extra. Like when it comes to like the action scenes from Sherlock, the moments of like mob mentality in The Gentleman, and then there's movies where he's really best in the storytelling, like Snatch and Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, and everything like that. And my first thought going away from this movie is Guy Ritchie loves telling stories within stories within stories. Like that's his mo. No matter what, that's the one consistency about Guy Ritchie in all his films. Like there's always multiple stories happening, but this time around, the multiple stories here was we knew where it was leading. That's the only difference between the previous movies and with Wrath of Man. And I did like the fact that you feel like every person that Jason Statham was talking to, we all thought they all were guilty
Mm-hmm.
and they all were shady, and it wasn't that way. I'm not spoiling anything else, but like we thought every single person was like, okay, he did it. No wait, she did it. No wait, he did it. Right, and we kept just thinking that the entire time, but the heist as time went on, it was increasingly it got more in detailed. We got different angles of that story happening, and then finally we got the big finale of it all. And it was something where I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I was smiling ear to ear. I hadn't felt this much joy watching a movie since watching the second John Wick. Right? No, sorry, the third John Wick. So the reason why I'm saying third John Wick, not saying the third John Wick was the best movie of the franchise. I still love number two over all of them, but the third one had the best action. Like right in the library when he's knocking out Boban with a book in the library, and like all these amazing because he's essentially escaping from all these different what's wrong assassins, right? So with Wrath of Man, like I was smiling ear to ear. Jason Statham is such this amazing badass, and he's always a badass. Like he's being him as always, and it was fantastic. And you kind of knew what he was trying to get into at the beginning, but as much as you want to think, oh, I figured this movie out, there was a little twist in it to really cap it off. Is there anything you would change in the movie?
Not really. I mean, I feel like I'm not saying it's a perfect movie, but I feel like for
No,
what this
absolutely
movie
not.
was, like for what this movie was, it's I wouldn't change anything. You know?
As much as yeah, no, I totally agree. As hyped as I was from this movie, I feel like it exceeded my expectations. Is what it isn't as fast paced, I think, as I'm describing it because there are
It's not.
a
It's
lot of
slow.
story development. So I would want to cautious that a little bit. Like if you're watching this, don't expect like bang bang right away. Like you do get the heist at the very beginning of the movie, but it's very minimal detail. Like literally
Hmm.
very minimal. You just know something happened there. That's all you know, and you know some people got shot, and that's all you. And you know they got shot by the gunshot sounds, not actually seeing
And
it.
that's you feel really tense when that happens, right? Because
Yeah,
you hear like the silence and the like whatever that is like.
yeah.
It's what when I was watching it, I was like, oh, like like it tensed me up a little bit because it's also what you don't see, right?
So
So.
I know it's a great revenge movie
Hmm.
with a lot of heist element. Like that's how I'll describe the movie. I personally would give it 8.5 out of 10. I yeah, I loved it. It's a rewatchable for
Yeah.
me. I am gonna watch it again. I can't wait to watch
Hmm.
it again. For me, is on that Gentleman and Snatch level of Guy Ritchie, where like if
Hmm.
it's on, if I have it on board, I'm gonna watch it. If I have a good
100%.
time, I'm gonna watch it. I kind of had that way with King Arthur too, even though King Arthur was very poorly received.
I have not
I,
seen King Arthur.
I,
Yeah,
I, with Charlie Hunnam, I really enjoyed it,
that's fair.
and I think you would enjoy it too. I really do. I think you would enjoy it. If you have a chance to watch it, it got ripped apart,
Hmm.
and I kind of know why it did. I can see why it was poorly received, but I was thoroughly entertained. And it's Charlie Hunnam. Like I
That's
love
fair.
that guy. So I recommend watching it. But yeah, I recommend watching to everybody. It's available in theaters and it's available to rent on iTunes. At least I know that for sure in Canada. I'm sure it's in theaters in
Oh,
the
100%.
US.
Yeah.
I'm sure iTunes also. I don't know if it'll be on any streaming service. It's not an HBO Max movie, so it won't be available to stream for free. But I really recommend everyone to watch this. If you like
And
heists, if you like revenge
100%. You'll.
movies,
Yeah.
one of my
I'm not a
favorite
big
revenge movies in a
action
long time.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a big action guy, but I was like, yo, this is really good. Like it's to a level where like everything on was on par. I also want to give a
Yeah.
special shout out to like the lighting department for this because they knocked it out of the park. But that's besides the story. 8.5 out of 10. I think that's a great score for it.
And then it was typical Guy Ritchie score, like the soundtrack, like with
Oh,
the
it
like
was
doom,
just barreling throughout.
doom,
Yeah.
doom. Then like you still hear small drum in the background, like and like the build up, and that actually gave me Gentleman slash King Arthur vibe.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually gonna watch King Arthur today because like I'm actually yeah I
Okay.
bought that movie because it's super cheap on iTunes because again it wasn't
Yeah.
well received,
Yeah.
but it is again I enjoy it. It's entertaining,
Fair
knights,
enough.
swords, all that sort of stuff, and of course the heist element in there, right? So yeah, guys, watch it. It's amazing. Check it out. Now, finally, a movie that's been out for a while now on Amazon Prime. We have Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, starring the amazing Michael B. Jordan. So, watching that, very quick summary about that is that so Michael B. Jordan played this lead mercenary, and essentially his team gets killed within this 24-hour time frame. At the time that the killing happened, it happens very quickly. There's a mission right away, and then like X amount of months later, their team's getting capped off, and you kind of put two and two together. Okay, maybe one has to do with the other, but we're not too sure yet. And then in that, which shows in the trailer, that Michael B. Jordan's wife was killed instead of Michael B. Jordan because they weren't in bed together. So from that, he goes on a rampage. Like he's like, hey, yo, like you kill my pregnant wife, you kill my crew, and the CIA essentially is closing the case because they felt like the mission that happened and what this hit was, it makes it all even. Obviously, as a ex soon to be father and ex husband now, he wasn't going to accept that. So from there, what were your first takeaways getting from that?
going away from the movie, I was just thinking it was okay. I wasn't a big
Yeah.
fan of it.
Oh man, I thought it
It
was just
was
me. I
Yeah, no, no,
really
no, no,
wanted to
no.
love
It's
it.
not just you. It's not. I
Okay.
wanted to like it too, but I was just
Yeah.
like, it was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about. It wasn't anything where I would like. I'd tell my family to watch Wrath of Man, but I would not tell my family to watch Without Remorse. There was nothing. It felt like a typical like, oh, we have to do this for America. Like it felt really patriotic, and it felt like a waste of Michael B. Jordan's like ability. But the one thing I did like was that scene, which we saw in the trailer, where he's like in the car, it's on fire. That scene was awesome because like the intensity in his face, but the rest of it was just like, I don't know, man. How many times are you gonna get shot and still keep walking? You know, it was okay. I was
Yeah,
disappointed
like
in it.
I really did want to love it, and I
Mm-hmm.
can't see myself watching it again for sure because it is a good background movie to have. It doesn't really draw you in the entire time. So for anyone who is curious, as always, I'm gonna tell you anyways. If you're not curious, Rotten Tomatoes did give Without Remorse 45% from
Makes sense.
critics,
Makes sense.
39 from audience. So it's actually less received than critics, which is shocking. And Michael, it's nothing to do with Michael B. Jordan's performance either, because he was fantastic in that movie.
He was good. He was good. Yeah.
Yeah, but something about Tom Clancy's stories come into like film or TV adaptations, like the only ones I've really enjoyed is the Krasinski show on Amazon Prime. Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. Yeah.
I am enjoying that, but besides that, all his like stuff has been sort of very inconsistent, but has been like good to okay at best. So I don't know if it's his stories just don't do well as a film adaptation. Maybe no one has done it right. Can't find the right writer to complete it, but I
Well, the source material is there, right? So I'm assuming you don't need a lot of writers to like round everything off.
I still
Right?
think you do. Like I know we had a discussion before, but I think the writer of the film or the TV show is just as important as the source material. And if you have a bad writer, like if you have a bad writer, it could, as we saw from
Yeah.
Without Remorse, but also at the same time, we don't know how good of a book it is, right? I haven't read the
Well,
book,
yeah. So
right?
and what I mean by that is like the writer has the list of events to work with. All he has to do is fill in the dialogue and some of the nuances, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like I'm trying to screenwrite right now. It's very tough, but I'm also not working with a material that's already written, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
It
like,
is
I would
important.
give
I'm not.
this.
I'm not discounting their role.
No. I absolutely. I would personally give this movie 5 out of 5 out of 10.
5.5 out of 10. Or?
Yeah, 5.5 out of 10. I would give it, just because there was more action in Wrath of Man than there was in a revenge movie by a military guy, a mercenary,
Yeah.
against like other military. You know what I mean? Like that shouldn't be the case. And it lacked the action part of it. Like the revenge movie is supposed to be, blood, guts, and glory, and we didn't get that. Even if it was tactical revenge, even if it was that, it lacked that, and I was disappointed in that. But Michael B. Jordan was enough for me to stay interested in the entire movie.
That's
Right,
fair.
like that movie. The order we're talking about the movies today is the order I watched it, because I personally wanted to watch from the newest to the newest release to the oldest release, and I don't know if it was fatigue or what, but I just wasn't as invested into the movie itself. But again, if anybody was in that movie that wasn't Michael B. Jordan, I don't know if I would have finished the movie. I really don't know. Michael B. Jordan was fantastic. I hope this gives them an opportunity to get like another action movie that's available out there. But it is available to stream for free for everyone on Amazon Prime. So if you like
Amazon
like,
Prime is so great.
sponsor us. But like it's yeah, like that is like we got the passion for Michael B. Jordan. We got the his shirt off every 2 scenes for whatever reason. He needed to take his shirt off for all this stuff.
He need to take his shirt off while like brushing his teeth or something. Like, how hot boy is that?
Yeah, man. You know what? Michael B. Jordan. If I was Michael B. Jordan, my shirt would be off all the time too, man. Like I don't blame the guy. But there were some cool scenes in there. Like there was a jail scene that was in there that is going against a sort of SWAT team. That was pretty cool. And then also you mentioned the car fire scene, which is what was in the trailer, but also it of course goes in a little more in depth in the movie itself. But overall, like I thought the movie was fine. I check it out if you guys can. It is free. That's the only reason why I'm recommending it. It's free to stream, so check it out.
I feel like this movie would have bombed in theaters.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
and I think that's why it went to Amazon Prime for free.
100%.
Instead of going to like a Netflix or straight to rent, right?
Yep.
Maybe it was well received. And again, Tom Clancy movies don't do necessarily well in
theaters
on the big screens in general. So yeah, 5.5. What would you give it?
4.
4?
Yeah. I honestly walked away from it thinking I could have used 2 hours in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, like I know, and that's the worst feeling. Also, because I really did want to like you were saying, I really did want to like it.
I love everything. For me to like walk away disappointed, I was like, and again, like, I'm not expecting like plot, like amazing twist or like fantastic dialogue. I just wanted more revenge. You know what I mean? I wanted more action.
Yeah.
And from the premise of this movie to not get that, and I just felt bored at times, I was disappointing. That's for sure. But those are the 3 reviews we've done for today. It's safe to say that the favorite movie for both of us is
Wrath the Man. 100%. Yeah.
Okay,
Great
cool,
movie.
yeah.
Guy Ritchie.
I need everyone to watch this. It's my favorite movie so far. Favorite movie so far 2021.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I didn't want to say
Fast 9.
Fair enough. In Without Remorse, Brett Gelman's character, he was in there for like 10 minutes, but he was really, really good. Just his dialogue. So, and also Brett Gelman never really disappoints me in whatever role he's in. So, that was one of the saving graces of that movie, besides Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Good call. I do like they try to connect the Tom Clancy world a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they relate to they mentioned Greer from the Jack Ryan stories too. So they were trying to connect everything to make it in one world. I don't know if they mean something more what happened with it. I doubt it.
I really hope not.
They try multiple times to try to sort of create. They try to make Jack Ryan this American James Bond, where most people will play this role and it hasn't panned out. No. And it's failed for different reasons every single time. But yeah, guys, those are the 3 movies we watched. We really enjoyed Wrath of the Man, obviously. So we recommend definitely watching Wrath of the Man. I recommend watching The Conjuring, despite my disappointments in some of the parts. I do still feel like a lot of people will enjoy it. Plus, in the US, it's free to stream right now on HBO Max. So why not? It's free. Take advantage of that. I hate the Americans for having a free HBO Max. I don't know why we don't have it in Canada. Crave, come on, guys! Like you're our HBO. Hook us up.
They're the only gateway for us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And if for Without Remorse, if you haven't watched it yet, don't. It's been a month since I watched it, so I didn't feel like I wish I watched it sooner. But yeah, our
if you want to, if you have 2 hours that you absolutely despise, like you don't want to have free time and you have absolutely nothing to do, then maybe. Even then, like, be cautious of it, but
I think it'd be perfect for people who live in Vancouver, or in Canada, where like rain in June and they can't go out. Watch it. If we're still full lockdown, weird. Give it a watch. But next we'll go on break, then we'll come back with Hot or Not.
Sure. Welcome back, listeners. Thank you for joining us again. On our previous segment, we just wrapped up movie reviews for Conjuring, Wrath of Man, and then Without Remorse. But now we'll move on to Hot or Not, which is a segment that Varun, you and I love. So you said you wanted to start us off. What do you have for us?
All right, man. So this will be a quick one. So Disney released their entire schedule for the summer, called the Summer of Disney Plus. So anything that's coming on Disney Plus in the next, say, 2 to 3 months has been slated out already. So very exciting news in there, especially there's a good combination of classics and new content. So I just want to highlight some of the stuff that came out. Have you had a chance to look at the schedule yet?
I saw it. I didn't retain too much from it, so I'm excited for what you tell me.
So some of the classics, I'm gonna bring that up first. That will be coming out. So in June we do have The Adventures of Babysitting, which is a great 1987 classic. If you haven't seen it, Murad, when it comes on Disney Plus, I really recommend watching it. It has everything you want in a child movie. It's really amazing. It's essentially what it is like. I think Jonah Hill tried doing a somewhat remake of that quite a few years ago. But it's a great movie. I recommend. Do recommend everyone watching it. We have Garfield coming out on July 30th, and we have Mrs. Doubtfire coming out in August. I don't know if that's a remake. I know they're talking about a remake of that too, so I'm not sure if it's a classic or a remake. But a lot of things are coming out, and I'm very excited for it. But the new stuff is what I am excited for. So we have obviously we have Raya and the Last Dragon that already came out this summer. We have Loki is coming out. July, I'm excited for. So July we have Monsters at Work, and we have the Black Widow, and we cannot go this summer without talking about Luca.
Oh,
So
I'm so excited. I'm so
that,
excited.
I'm genuinely excited for that too.
Yeah.
So of like, is there anything specific? If you took it, have you looked at the list, and if you have, like, what sticks out to you? The one thing you have to walk away from me, it's going to be Luca. I feel like we might be on the same boat as that, but Luca does that to me for sure. And I'm excited for all these classics to come back on here. But what's your take?
I'm really excited. I mean, of course, Luca, it looked great. The trailers looked amazing. And I'm excited to see Loki. And I know those are coming out soon, and that might be a bit of a cop out. But I'm also really excited for Garfield. I'm not sure if that's a new Garfield or an old Garfield.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the old Garfield movie. But I loved like those Garfield movies as a kid, like Garfield 1, Garfield 2, and then the live action sort of Garfield where he comes into the real world, quote unquote. I don't know. They're fun to watch. I love the kid. I love the comics as a kid. And I know Jim Davis can't really do any wrong. So if it's a new Garfield, I'm excited for it. If it's an old Garfield, I'm even more excited for it.
Yeah, it's a
because
win-win.
It's just a fat cat doing cool shit, you know. And
He's a
if I was
comfortable cat. He's a comfortable cat.
he's a comfortable cat.
He's a comfortable
Still
cat.
doing cool shit though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, yeah. So straight up, that's why it's a quick version of it. That's what I'm hot on this.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for it. What do you have next, man?
I wanted to talk about Miss Marvel, because that show, and the reason why I stick to it so much is because it's a POC superhero, and it's a POC superhero who's given a lot of power.
Sorry.
Right?
So for anyone who doesn't know what POC is, do you want to explain that?
So person of color, right? So someone who is not white. Exactly, like that's what it is.
Sure.
So, reading a few of the Miss Marvel comics when I was a kid, I thought it was really cool because, I mean, I'd immigrated here when I was 9, and to see someone in that role, especially in a comic book, was so cool. And I like the fact that this is coming out, and I like the fact that they're not casting like brown American actors. Like they have a lot of cast. They're saying Farhan Akhtar might be a part of it. If you don't know who he is, he's an amazing actor, great writer. And they're also casting this Pakistani actor who I know from his Pakistani TV shows. His name is Fawad Khan, right? He's so beautiful. He's just a beautiful man to look at. But he's not new to the Disney universe. He played the lead prince in that Disney movie Khoobsurat, which essentially it's Urdu for beautiful. So that's not his first role in Disney, but for him to be cast in this type of role, especially as a Pakistani actor who I also grew up watching, is fantastic. He was in a couple shows, and Pakistani shows are very quick. They tell a story and then they're done. So like 1 year, 2 year max. So, and he was fantastic in all of those shows. So I'm really excited to see what he does in this role, and I'm excited for the little kids that see the show and they're like, this is unbelievable, because right now you have Kumail Nanjiani, you have Riz Ahmed, now you have Fawad Khan, You have Iman Vellani, who's going to play Kamala Khan, who is Miss Marvel. So it's so cool. It's just, and I know I'm partial because all of the actors I named were brown, but like that's what resonates with me. So I found it really happy. I found myself really happy looking.
It's a similar feeling when Black Panther came out for a lot of kids, and I think this will be a very similar feeling to us, like to see us being represented in a non-comedic way.
Yeah.
Like comedy's never been short of that. We've seen it in everywhere. However you felt about it, we were still there, right? And to get that in a more of a, and we are seeing more and more people of color from like in the Middle East or India or like South Asia in general. Like we are seeing more and more of that. To see that more and more on the big screen, and especially when you see these Bollywood or actors from overseas to come on North America screens, it's pretty amazing. So I'm very hot for it. I'm excited for it. I can't wait for the Miss Marvel to come out. I'm very excited for Eternals to come out. I'm very excited for see movies like all these new Disney Marvel movies to come out. Like it's just very exciting to do that, and to be invested into all that. So yeah, definitely super hot on that. Wonderful. I'm gonna keep the theme superhero. So DC released a new clip of Shazam a few days ago. Very in the dark clip of it. But the reason I'm bringing it up because it's not the clip. The clip itself, you can't get anything from that. Like I'm excited to watch it because I just enjoyed the first one. It wasn't great, but I enjoyed it. But Zachary Levi's new suit does not look cheap. Like they upgraded his suit immensely on the new movie, and I'm very excited for that. Have you had a chance to take a look at that suit?
No, I have also not seen the first movie because I thought it was a throwaway.
I recommend watching the first movie.
Okay.
It's nice. It's nice. Like, again,
I heard it's
like, oh
funny.
my god, you have to watch it.
Yeah.
I want to call it funny. It's fun.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's funny. I wouldn't say it's funny, but it's fun. It's entertaining. I recommend watching it for sure. Like with these DC movies, I stopped going into connecting everything.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like I'll be disappointed every single time I do that. But I go on it now just to watch the movie, and I did enjoy that for that, and I did enjoy the cast, like the little twist at the end when it comes to the different heroes that might come in within the Shazam world. So Shazam: Fury of Gods, I'm very excited for it. But that suit, it is such an upgrade because the first suit, it made me so angry because it looked so cheap and it felt like a fake bad muscle suit, whereas a new suit, it finally feels like a superhero suit. So I am very excited for that. I'm hot on that, man. I'm assuming you haven't seen any of the pictures or anything then.
No, I'm actually... Whoa, it does look pretty sick. Oh, it's...
Right?
I know what the suit looks like, and I'm just looking at the suit now, like the new suit, and it looks pretty legit.
Yeah.
Like, it no longer looks like a paper mache
fake muscle,
cutout.
like a fake muscle suit. Like the first one felt like a fake muscle suit, and I was not in on that. So I am glad they upgraded it, that's for sure.
It looks pretty sick.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
Safe to say we're both hot on the new suit.
I'm hot on the new suit. I haven't seen the first movie, so I don't know if I'm hot or on the movie.
It's on Crave, so it's on Crave, so it is available to stream. So I do recommend checking it out. It might be on Netflix now too, actually. So it's in a few different places now, at least in Canada. Like it should be on Netflix too. So I recommend watching it. You'll enjoy it. Like go with an open mind and just watching a superhero movie, not a DC movie, just a superhero movie. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it.
Okay.
All right, man. What do you have next?
So the next thing I want to talk about. Wrap us up. All right. Okay. So I know exactly how to wrap it up then. So there's a movie coming out. Makes sense. This is a movie podcast called Naked Singularity. Have you heard of it?
No, I have not. Talk about it. I'm gonna look it up.
Sure. So essentially, I'll read to you the tagline. So it centers on Casey, who's played by John Boyega, who's a promising young New York City public defender whose idealism is beginning to crack under the daily injustices of the very justice system he's trying to make right. Doubting all that he's worked for and seeing all the signs of the universe collapsing around him, he is pulled together into a dangerous, high-stakes drug heist by an unpredictable former client, who's played by Olivia Cook, in an effort to beat the broken system at its own game. Right? So, public defender, lawyer, who's like, you know what? Screw this. This shit sucks. The justice system is so unjust. I'm just going to pull off a heist and try and see if I can bring it all together, right? So, John Boyega, of course, from the Star Wars universe, Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise, and Olivia Cook. So it's the directorial debut of Chase Palmer, who was also a screenwriter for It. So it's his second time working with Bill Skarsgård. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm hot, definitely. Like, I'm looking at the cast right now. I'm looking at the storyline, the poster. Actually, I've seen the poster for this on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a nice poster.
I have not seen it yet. No.
It seems like something you would really enjoy. But
Oh.
this is definitely something I'd be interested in. Speaking of like, I know during our Q&A,
That's a sick
we
poster.
talked about, yeah. So we talked about during our Q&A about like actors that we're excited for or that got us excited in like the last decade. John Boyega is one of those actors where like I still don't know about him yet. Like I've not been disappointed with him, but like, and he's been good so far. I'm not saying like he's been bad actor or had bad moments, but for some reason I thought he'd be great. Maybe he's still young. Like he's not like
He's
not
very
he's
young,
not a finished he's not a finished product yet, but he's still very young. So like ever since I watched him on Attack the Block, if you guys haven't seen that movie, it is a great sci-fi movie. If you haven't watched Attack, have you seen Attack the Block?
No, I was just, no.
You
I
need
didn't
to
hear
watch
about
it. It's a typical. So it's an alien invasion in the UK. It is amazing. Like it is 8.5, 9 out of 10 type of sci-fi movie. Like, and you need to watch it. It is fun. It's dramatic. It's full of action. It's joyful. It's everything.
Jodie
I'm not
Whittaker,
sure-
eh? Okay.
yeah, it's a great movie. It's if you can watch somewhere for anyone else out there, Attack the Block. If you can watch it anywhere, it's fantastic. So he came out banging, right, John Boyega, and like, oh man, he's gonna be a star, and he hasn't quite done that yet. And as I mentioned in the previous podcast, stacked cast versus good cast. He's still part of a good cast category where like he's good in a movie, but I don't know if he can carry a movie. And I'm hoping he will have the ability to carry a movie sooner than later. So I'm
fair.
hot on this for sure because it sounds like a movie he might be able to carry. He's charming, right? Like he's charming. He's funny.
He just oozes swag and charm. Yeah.
Right, like he's so fantastic. Like I did enjoy him in the Star Wars movies. I did enjoy him in anything else he's done. So I'm hot on this for sure. I'm all in on this one. I'm excited. Do you know when it comes out? Is it release date yet?
There's no release date that I can see. I'm not sure if you can find it, but while you find it, I just want to bring up. I'm not sure if he's ready to carry. This seems like this is his movie to carry. I'm not sure if he's at that level yet. I know we saw John David Washington carry like Tenet, and it wasn't.
I'm watching for his career. I'm so excited for John David Washington's career.
But same thing with John. But
yeah,
I'm not sure if he can carry his own feature film, especially for JDW to carry a Christopher Nolan film. He did an okay job, but I'm also that's why I'm worried about this. Can he carry his own film where like the story centers around him? Star Wars, yes, he was a main character, but there were so many other cast members at play where it felt like it was a movie for everybody, not him.
I know this movie's about it's a John Boyega movie. Prefer to defend John David Washington and Black Klansman. He showed he can carry a movie.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I know Adam Driver was in that too, and of course another amazing actor. But in that movie, like I could see someone else playing the Adam Driver role, even though I'm glad he was casted for the role. I can't see anyone else playing John David Washington's role, except for maybe Denzel Washington, his dad.
His dad,
like
yeah.
a young Denzel, are the only
Yeah.
two people I could see playing that role. Like they were fantastic. He was funny. So John David Washington will be a star. He will win an Oscar. He will win a Best Actor.
100%.
Like there's no doubt about it. For Boyega, like he has at least the Best Supporting Actor potential in him.
Under his yeah.
Right?
I'm
Like, so
excited
he
to see
has
him
that.
take on this and
Yeah.
and see it to fruition, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to see if he can carry it because the actors in this are great, right? Olivia Cook was great in Sound of Metal. John Boyega's been great in Star Wars, and Bill Skarsgård was terrifying as Pennywise. So I'm excited to see this sort of come to fruition. They're also making Attack the Block 2. So
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, we can talk about that later, but I mean, I just saw it on IMDb. It's in pre-production, so that means they're just going into it.
I'll tell you right now, I'm out on that. Yeah, I'm ready out on that.
Okay, cool. Fair enough.
Okay, we'll wrap up with that. Attack the Block 2, I'm cold. I'm out.
Fair enough. All right.
With that, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We will, as of right now, we have nothing planned for an episode for Thursday, just because we're just tired, not gonna lie. We're trying to bring, but you know what, like, if we think of something to, like, we feel like we have to share, we'll definitely bring it up next Thursday. So if you don't hear from us on Thursday, you will definitely hear from us next Tuesday with another movie reviews, and we'll post sometime later this week about what movies we will be reviewing next week. As always, it will be spoiler free because we want everyone to have the opportunity to watch it even afterwards, so they have an idea of what to expect from it. But with that, guys, I think it's time to wrap it up. Catch you guys in the flippity flop.
Peace out.